Summer is officially here as Ocean City schools are out and the weather is all over the place. In this week's video, we're going to go through everything that's happened so far in June and talk about why, even though some of the numbers are lower than they were last year, this is basically what we should have expected. So mortgage rates for once are not the problem. They are staying flat, and some banks even have mid 5% adjustable rate mortgages. And I know some people are scared of those, but at the same time, getting something comfortably under 6 could help make the difference for you. Inventory's down though. So last year we actually had inventory rise through June into July before it tapered back off. But this is more of a normal pattern where we do see things start to come down in June, stay flat, bounce around a little bit, drop a little bit in July before they start to come back to life toward the end of the summer. Now we're down again 6% from the start of the month. It's pretty substantial, all things considered, especially as days on market continue to rise. Prices for condos continue to go up, and I think that's going to go up again next month. But with single families, we have our first negative year over year number that I've seen in a long time. Now, I do expect that to come back closer to zero next month. But the moral of the story for the single family market, they're still moving comfortably. And now that, again, the volumes are where they are, we had 10 go under contract so far this month, puts us on pace for 20. That's still very strong. And it's not like prices are coming down. And the crazy thing is, we have two $9 million plus properties that are going to close and sell this month. That is two records back to back here in Ocean City. Both of them are bayfronts. One is brand spanking new on a 50-foot lot, and the other one is on a massive 200-foot of frontage lot on Bayshore Drive. That one closed already. The other one's going to close here in about 8 days. So all things considered, June so far is holding with where the trend is. Now, new listings, this is starting to frustrate me a little bit because every time we see inventory drop down, it doesn't really look like it should have based off of the number of new listings and the number that have gone under contract. But there's so many games being played, I think, with agents or sellers taking their homes off the market, putting them back on to reset the days on market. And again, that shows up as a new listing. If it were easy to filter out all that noise, I absolutely would. But the noise has always been in here. I just think that it is playing a bigger role now. So looking at things on its face as total new listings, got to take it with a grain of salt a little bit. And that's why the context here matters, and it's going to filter through what we continue to see. But again, this is staying with the theme of more new listings this year. But at the same time, we have inventory that is about 10% down from where we were at the same time last year. So can't all be true at the same time unless there's some funny business going on. Pending sales, pretty solid, all things considered, with June being on pace to match where we were last year and the year before. Closed sales, again, stronger than last year because we've had more go under contract than last year so far to this point in time. We're about 10% up compared to last year. And for a lot of people, it doesn't really feel that way. But the numbers are what they are. So the market continues to move. People continue to buy, even though inventory is low. Now, months of inventory in single family land is a little bit different. Last year, we did see it rise into the summer. And now here it is dropping back down towards 5 months of inventory, which is more of a seller's market. It's a little bit closer to what we saw in 2023 after we had the huge upswing in 2022. So it's a little bit all over the place, but the single family world to me does seem pretty balanced, all things considered. Inventory is still very low in that world in the mid 60s of total single families available on the island. Now, you'll see here that, again, this is another month consecutively of prices, the median sale price going down with single family homes. Next month, we're going to have a $1.7 million month fall off this rolling 12-month average, and it looks to be replaced with something much bigger than that. So I do think it's going to get us back on trend here and staying plus or minus where we've been for the last year. I don't anticipate that these are going to skyrocket, but this is the first time we're going to see a pretty big deviation between the median and the mean. The mean is going to stay about flat because of those $9+ million homes that are going to sell or close this month. So I'm going to start to track that and see if they get back in trend or if this was just an anomaly. I think it's a bit of an anomaly here because of those two homes. Days on market for single families, again, still higher than they were in the past couple years, but nothing crazy to write home about. And the condo and townhome world, still as solid as ever, right? Month after month, repeating the same thing. We've been where we've been for the last 3 years now, basically. And I don't anticipate or see any reason why we should expect that to change, especially when the prices continue to rise. And likewise, we're going to have a lower month, one that had a median sale price of about 700,000 a year ago. That's going to fall off, and that should result in this bumping back up again. So it's a very strong market out there consistently for these condos. And again, condos count as duplex units too and triplex units. We just lump them all together. Now, speed, this would have been lower if it weren't for the amount of homes that were taken off the market and put back on. They count as new listings, they count against this metric, but it would be pretty close to where we were last June as well. So things are moving about where we would have expected them to move, and that would have been the same as well. Now, where are we going? And this is where the last part of this, where there's a lot of factors at play. If you look down the bottom of the slide, right, the tariffs are still getting figured out. The stock market's still bouncing around a little bit. And now we have the Iran-Israel war going on top of the Ukraine-Russia situation. So there seems to be a lot going on out there. Our debt continues to grow. It's not a pretty picture. What that means for the Ocean City market is really anybody's guess. It's about as stable and strong as you can find anywhere. And I do expect it to stay that way. Now, mortgage rates, I don't think that we should expect anything too friendly over the next month or two. Publicly, you can still see Trump and Jerome Powell, the head of the Fed, basically at odds. Powell saying we need to understand more about the tariffs to see if inflation is going to stay where it is, whereas they think it may be inflationary. And then there's pressure from the other side for them to drop rates like every other country in the world has, the prime rates, I should say. But time will tell. I think, the odds of a rate cut in July are decent but low. I think September is the more likely case for us to see anything meaningful happen there. And, maybe it's too late, maybe it's not. Time will tell. But inventory, again, a decrease is pretty normal. If you go back beyond last year where we had the increase I mentioned earlier in the video, it's pretty normal to see this pattern where inventory starts to drop, right? People who wanted to be here for the summer, for the most part, already got in or are here or are going to be closing this month. And then people start to set their eyes on next year or in the fall and getting in for next year. So very normal that activity drops off a little bit starting now, and then it'll pick up again in a couple months. And prices, again, like I mentioned, is still very strong in both worlds, despite seeing a -4% year over year median price swing in the single family world. It's nothing that I'm concerned about. So that's it for this video. There's not going to be any rants this time. Pretty clean situation so far this month. We're going to see where it wraps up over the next couple weeks, and I will bring you the full recap in early July as soon as enough of the deals that are supposed to have closed, and I can bring you that detail with confidence. But as always, if you have any questions, you can reach out any of the ways you see down in the description. Still have room for about 2 more clients I can comfortably take on before I'll need to bring in my now 5 agents here locally in to help me out. So that's it. Appreciate you hanging out as always, and I will see you next time.